Once again, guys, welcome back to another live stream. Welcome. So today we're gonna be. I will show you guys the chart. It's pretty much the same thing that I said on Monday, except that I pretty much called for a correction, which has started to happen on Bitcoin. I will cover that as well. Besides that, I don't see much of a change at this moment in time in the market. It's kind of stalling, waiting for a movement, which in my opinion is going to be to the downside. I will switch to my screen right now, okay, so that you guys can see it. Awesome. So I've seen some people talk in the chat. Like I was saying before starting the recording, because this will be live on YouTube as well. This live will be mostly detailed by you guys. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to show you my forecast, and I will also explain my strategy once again. Kind of make it a little bit easier to follow. Keep it as simple as possible. I'd love a step for step on the strat. Yes, we can do that. But like I said last week, it's mostly based on market structure and Fibonacci placements. It's literally that and that's it. Like the last trades that you guys have seen me take on Involio. For the people that are in the VIP, they know that we had more trades open at the same time, right? It's all based, except for one trade that I sent on the VIP only, which is Pengu. Besides that, all my other trades were pretty much created by using that simple strategy that I've made public. Okay, so if I can do it, you can do it as well. You may have to spend some time refining it and truly understand it, and then you should be good to go. Okay, especially if you end up taking profits at the first at your first level, then move the surplus to break even. That is the best way, in my opinion, at the beginning to truly learn it and also make some money out of it. Okay, so let's start with the market watch. I'll tell you, like I said before, not much has changed. Okay, we are now for the total one, we are still in this critical area, which I told you before. I think that this is where a potential short-term top can potentially begin to be formed. If it hasn't been formed already on Monday, I think that this is where we could be getting one. Does that mean that this is the full-blown end of the cycle? No, absolutely not. Especially not for altcoins. Okay, for Bitcoin, to me, it really doesn't matter what it wants to do because I'm not exposed in Bitcoin at this moment. I'm more focused on the altcoins. Okay, so what you guys should be aware about at this moment is that the new all-time high that we have basically seen on Bitcoin is, for the most part, capital that was previously present in these altcoins, which is the reason why you've seen altcoins underperform compared to the highs that they've made on December of 2024, but also some in January of 2025. That is the reason why Bitcoin is going up, but these altcoins are remaining quite weak. It's because that capital was rotated into Bitcoin essentially. Okay, and we can see that through the total chart, to be honest with you, because these are the highs that we made in Q4 2024. Okay, so you can see that compared to that top over here, we truly didn't have a full-blown exposure by much. Okay, like comparing the current high and the previous high, guys, it's a 1.84% difference. That should tell you something, that this new all-time high is basically fueled by the same capital that was already in the market in the first place, right? So essentially what I'm telling you, I believe that is going to happen is this. I think that Bitcoin should be taking a step back, potentially. Now, there is the case of Bitcoin continuing to go up, and that could potentially be translated into capital going more into the ETFs. Okay, and perhaps that capital isn't necessarily reflected on the total charts, but we could use the total charts to understand where we may potentially go with the rest of the coins. Okay, so in my opinion, I think that altcoins will be still in the show going forward, and I'm willing to increase my positions on these altcoins upon any decent pullback. Okay, it's going to be a step-by-step process. I've shared limit orders with the premium, but I think that there will be some market entries. So yeah, every step of the way should be used as a buy on altcoins, in my opinion. If I could give you, I wouldn't say one piece of advice, but I'm pretty much telling you what I'm doing myself. Okay, so capital rotation is basically what is currently happening at this moment in time. We are still facing the resistance. Again, look, you're at this trend line here. Not much progress has been made ever since you burst into it, slightly. So anything higher than that will still be met with resistance, even in the case that we get this high wipe. Be careful turning too bullish right now, and that is a big if at this moment in time. I'm still leaning towards a correction, but I'm open to another push to the upside to potentially even liquidate this high. Give people more confidence of prices going higher right away, which in my opinion will be met with more downside at this moment in time. Okay, let's go to the total 2. Total 2 is also at resistance. Again, this should tell you something at this moment in time. Again, we'll be using any pullbacks to accumulate more altcoins. Total 3. Potentially, this is one that does propose a little bit more upside at this moment, because we do have this trend line that has remained unfulfilled. Third touch that is missing. Last week, I believe that I explained that the third touch of a trend line is usually what tends to reverse the trend, at least temporarily. Okay, so I'm looking for a rejection up in this level over here, which also coincides with a 78.6% of a bearish Fibonacci. Not only that, but I'm sure that if I were to place some Fibonacci's, well, what do you see? We get the minus 50% over here. There is plenty of ranges in this area, so we have plenty of equilibrium points that can be retested. Surprise, surprise, they're all placed in the same exact area, and that should tell you something with my targets, right? I am telling you, I think that we can get up in this region over here, potentially even before a drop. By the looks of it, it could be the case. But afterwards, in my opinion, we should be seeing a decent reversal back down that people could potentially interpret in the wrong way. Repeat that. What reverses the trend lines? No, what reverses the trend, at least temporarily, is likely going to be the third touch of a trend line. And you can do this by yourself by checking what 2 points, right, that created a trend line have done before. Look at that. For example, on this trend line here, right, first touch, second touch, look at what happened on the third touch. We had the bear trap, okay, which in our situation can be translated into a bull trap, which is the reason why my projection goes a little bit higher than where this trend line is placed. And look at what happened here. It reversed the bearish trend, right? Not only that, let's have a look at another example. 1, 2, 3. Bear trap, trend reversal. Okay, so the third touch is very, very important. And I will show you guys more examples. Okay, you can find this happening pretty much every single time. 1, 2, bear trap, push to the upside. Right? Have a look at this one, for example. 1, 2, 3. You guys have an echo? Hold on. Let me know if you guys hear me better now. Do you guys hear me better? Do you guys hear me? It's good? Yeah, basically because I'm recording on OBS. There's audio flowing through OBS, and I also have, which is weird because last time people couldn't hear me when I did this. Yeah, I think that for some people the stream was already muted. But anyway, now that it's good, happy days. So hopefully, guys, I showed you guys by now, right, the importance of the third touch of a trend line. And now, of course, this can be explained in deeper depth as you dive into things such as the order flow, because at the end of the day, the market reverses upon eating liquidity, okay? But if you want to see an easy representation of this happening, right, I will do the trend line way, okay? So this is a very big important target for me. It's also a psychological level because we will be trading at above $1 trillion on the total tree chart. Okay, so this is the chart that represents the altcoins besides Ethereum. So very, very important. Now let's have a look at the orders chart. It's already a resistance. Okay, but like I've showed you guys with this rectangle here, I do believe that if we were to spike above this yellow area, which is a little bit quote unquote weaker than this red area here, okay, like my author says, start to consider a top soon if no crash occurred yet. Okay, so I'm looking for a correction back down. Whether it happens from this level or this level over here, I don't think it really matters. What I've done with my personal trades is that the buys that I've made down here, okay, that I made during the war FUD, okay, with premium, we pretty much sold over here, okay, and there are some other plays that I'm looking to sell upon here because they haven't catched up just yet, okay. So can't hear, you're muted. I know that I'm muted, but why is it that some people can hear me and some people don't? Join the, set the stream volume to 100. It's from the Steam. You just draw a sock snake. Okay, should be good now, right? Mute Alex as individual. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Awesome. Okay. So again, it doesn't matter where we find resistance because the money that I was looking to make from year to year has already been made. So anything extra is a bonus. Anything to the downside will be used to buy once again. So this is currently what I'm expecting to see, and I pretty much told you what I've done so far. Okay, so it's still a pretty good area in my opinion to consider some profit taking if you wish, but that really depends on how you've acted. In my opinion, there's a lot of people that have turned way too bullish. So again, I'm not in this trade anymore. I closed the trade. Still valid, to be completely honest with you, but I personally prefer to lock in profits. This was the short that I pretty much called on Involio as well. So reason being is because, like I've said in the weekly update on YouTube, this is the most likely top market trailing for me. You can see that the rejection which we have had, and anything that we may get now to the upside could be, and I say could be because I truly do not know, right? And I do not care to know about Bitcoin at this moment. Anything else to the upside is merely potentially just a pullback, okay? So you can see that we just hit equilibrium, could potentially even reverse to the downside from here. My target, the very first important target for me is going to be between 114 to 112k approximately. From there onwards, we can evaluate the situation and see if that is enough of a drop, or if perhaps we have to go to around 105, which is also a very important level for me. Anything else than that, 96 or anything lower, is truly a gift. Honestly, it's a gift, okay? And that would imply that there is more money leaving Bitcoin to rotate into the altcoins. The portfolio is climbing slowly to the upside. Yeah, John. I mean, you guys can ask John. John is one of our members. It has been a member for over a year. So don't take my word for it. Ask other people, okay? He met me the same way that he met you guys met me. So if he tells you, should be in pretty good hands. But anyway, that's another topic. So currently, again, still in a very dangerous area at this moment in time. I also have another Bitcoin chart over here that I've charted at a different time, and we are still technically in an area of potential resistance. If this holds as a support, right? If this holds as a support, where should we be looking for? We should be looking for potentially 125 to 130, which again coincides with levels that we find inside of this triangle. What is the triangle, for anyone asking? It's a concept that, unless I find someone else that used it before me, which I don't know, it's what I like to call the trendline channel, and it's basically when two different trendlines cross each other, creating a triangle, giving you a glimpse of where you can expect important resistance or important support to be found. Okay, at this moment we are in an area where if it's combined with, for example, bearish Fibonacci's or bearish levels, aka resistance, right, it is a important warning sign the market is giving you. Now, what is it to expect, right? A level such as this one, such a big trendline channel. What do you need to see in order to validate a bullish thesis? You truly need to see an explosion to the upside, followed by a correction back down, retest, continuation higher. Okay, this is the only way for you to truly validate this, the uptrend continuing at this moment in time, which means that you do not have an high probability entry until you see this phase over here. Okay, until you see that, you don't have any high probability trade. Even the short that I've taken, even though it ended up being profitable, are basically minus levels of Fibonacci's. Okay, so those are the best indicators, in my opinion, besides order flow, that allows you to see where the liquidity is at. This is the best thing that you have, along with the trend lines, to determine potential levels of resistances as you're dealing into all-time highs. Okay, trend lines are just diagonal supports and resistances, and they are still valid after a break. Many times you will see price coming back to it. Correct. But it's also the main thing about trend lines is that it's valid because other people see it, and therefore liquidity is built up in the region because we all tend to see potentially the same trade. Okay. There's also that phase of the metal, which doesn't imply that you cannot make money from it, but trend lines are definitely very important. I use them a little bit. Don't use it for my active trading. I don't need it. But when I have to do like medium term analysis, right, like I'm doing right now, I do use the trend lines. If you wanted to, you could even trade only with trend lines and support the resistance. Yes, you can, absolutely. The more people use a tool, the more accurate it is, absolutely. A little bit, bro. Your chart is full of them, dude. If you see my order charts. Now, but for real, this is my layout when I'm scalping or where I'm trading. Like, besides this noise over here, which I've just added before starting the live stream because I'm monitoring some levels. Like, this is what my chart looks like. I think that is pretty clean. This is just stuff for to explain. This is where I do educational content on. Okay, so, anyways, Bitcoin dominance. Now, this is dropping. Cool. Why have we not seen that big of an explosion on altcoins right now compared to before as we were trading at these levels? Well, it's because Bitcoin dropped. Surprise, surprise. Do you guys now understand why I told you that the liquidity that were previously in the altcoins are now simply into Bitcoin? And that's why even though the Bitcoin dominance is dropping, you're not really seeing altcoins flying the way that they were as the Bitcoin dominance was dropping to around these regions. Like, we literally saw more upside on these altcoins while we were over here. Did you sell your bags too early? No, I don't think that is the case. I think that what is changing is the approach that we should be having towards the Bitcoin dominance chart. Okay, I think that this is what is basically shifting. I think that the real Bitcoin dominance chart is actually the stablecoin dominance chart rather than the Bitcoin one. The reason being is very, very simple. ETFs, okay? So Bitcoin has a lot of capital that has now been tied towards the ETFs. We cannot see the same thing for majority of these altcoins, okay? So in my opinion, we should not really be treating the Bitcoin dominance chart the way that we should have in the previous cycles. Does that mean that you should be ignoring it? Absolutely not. But what you should be paying more attention to, in my opinion, is this, the USDT dominance chart. Because you will see reflection of bullishness, right, more on this chart than anywhere else. I dare you to try it if you don't believe me. You could pretty much look at this chart, especially in this particular cycle, right? You will notice that any uptrend and downtrend is basically the inversion of this trend over here, okay? What do we have approaching, guys? What we have approaching here is a bullish order block that has never been retested, okay? Like, look at my alert and what it says. I believe that if we do see a little bit more upside, okay, which is why I'm not here to call tops or anything, but I am leaning bearish. If we do see this level tapped, I'm truly expecting to see a significant retrace back up. Does that have to be the end of the bull run? Absolutely not. But I think that it's basically the market taking some more fuel to the from the downside to prepare it to go higher, and especially these altcoins, because I think that there's going to be a parabolic phase in the market coming soon, or should I say coming next. And perhaps there is the potential, right, for Bitcoin to substantially increase in price. I'm talking to potentially 250k, potentially even 300k, right? And because we have seen previously, and pretty much I would say throughout this entire cycle, that if Bitcoin moves up, altcoins follow, right? If we do see a substantial increase of that nature on Bitcoin, what happens is this. So actually, guys, give me a second. I'll open it for you guys right away. Give me just a second. Just need to make sure that hold on. Let me go worldwide if I'm able to find it. Okay, should be good. Awesome. So what you have in front of you at this moment in time is this. It's the Google Trends, okay? And what I want to show you, and I was seeking for the worldwide function, but I think the United States could potentially be good. Let's search for the word Bitcoin. Worldwide, cool. Interest from the past 5 years. So what do you notice? That even if, right, Bitcoin is currently trading new all-time highs, the interest right now is truly not that crazy. Like, we literally saw more, well, obviously, we saw more euphoria and more interest in Bitcoin back in 2021, okay? Which, of course, there was COVID, the people were at home and all of that stuff. Okay, cool, I get it. But we also saw more interest in Bitcoin last year compared to now, even though we are at way higher prices. So what does that tell you? That tells you that retail is simply not interested in Bitcoin. Reason being is because the Bitcoin price is way higher than what most people can afford. Okay, so who cares, right? In the mind of a retail person, we could say, or retail, whatever you guys want to call it. So who cares if Bitcoin price goes from 100k to 150k? I don't have 100k to throw at a coin, right? So most people stop there. Now, what I think will fuel the old season is not necessarily institutional interest. I think that there will be institutional interest in coins like XRP, potentially even DOT, because I've seen ETFs for that as well. Interest for Pengu, because Pengu, I think that they have an ETF going on, right? So, you know, coins that have ETFs tied into them, of course, Ethereum as well, will gain institutional interest. But what about everything else? Well, everything else has pretty much underperformed, right? And everything else is way more cheaper compared to a lot of these different tokens that I've named. And I'm speaking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, we could even say XRP to a certain degree, but of course we can still buy a bunch of XRP with a few $100s, okay? Even though the price has definitely increased compared to before. But let's just make this example, right, with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Most people will not be buying that. That's why a lot of people are pissed at this cycle. They say this has been a sucker rally, okay? That's the reason why it's happening. However, what I think will happen is these people will flood into altcoins. They will flood into altcoins because it's the cheapest way for them to gain exposure into crypto and feel like they hold a lot of it. So I really believe that a big alt season is coming over the next few months. Will potentially end by the end of the year. Okay, I'm in that camp, and I think that potentially could even stop before December because a lot of people are expecting December to be the super bullish month. I potentially disagree with that, but we will see. It depends on the timing of that. So Bitcoin can go up as much as it wants. People will not buy it. I think that is, however, good if we do see a significant push to the upside on Bitcoin, because that, I think, will be the catalyst to make people want to buy altcoins once again. If I asked before, do you believe in ICT? I don't believe in anyone. I believe in myself. No, okay. So ICT, I think that it does propose some interesting arguments. I've studied ICT for a long time. I have I pretty much marked every single concept of his in a big PDF, which I've also printed. I pretty much watched all of his videos up until 2023, I think. From there onwards, I think that he became useless to me. But I did consume a lot of his content. And what I can tell you is that it doesn't matter. And I've had this discussion with you guys before in the last live stream. It doesn't matter which strategy you go for. What matters is the trader that applies the strategy. And what matters more than everything else, is your psychology. Okay? So without psychology, you can try whatever you want, honestly, and you will still fail. And that's the reality of it. And that's why most people end up stopping this journey and start to say that this trading thing is a scam, because they're not willing to put the work in to completely rewire their brain. And that's the reality of it. You know, a lot of people, right, and perhaps some of you guys included, you guys want the things to happen quick. And it's because you are not necessarily at fault, but I will also say that perhaps you are, because you are in control of your life. But the reason why I was about to say that it's not completely your fault is because a lot of you guys are very, very young, okay? And you guys have been born in the world of social medias. And social medias are great at one thing: fucking up your brain. Because you guys are being so used with the cheap dopamine that you get from Reels, that you get from TikToks and all of that other bullshit, that you pretend to see fast money in such a market. You guys have been advertised crypto as the get rich quick thing, which is the reason why most people nowadays, they begin their journey by buying fucking meme coins. Okay? Let that sink in. You guys are so used to that you don't even know how to manage money for real. You don't know the meaning of patience, and this is why I make an emphasis at doing the way that I'm doing, and I could have grown a following by doing memes all over the place. I could have done a lot more, right, in terms of growth, if I wasn't so fixated in doing things the right way. Yeah, lost a son on meme coins. Lost a soul on meme coins. Okay. No, I'm sure that I will probably miss some people as well because of my statement, but that's the reality of it. That's the reality. Like, do you believe that people that play meme coins and all that stuff, and I'm not criticizing anyone, because we can make money off meme coins, but you gotta understand where I'm going with this. Like, a lot of people say that they want to trade, but what they're trading is meme coins, right? Are you really a trader? Because a trader, you know, has to go through an actual journey of learning himself more than anything, rather than the markets, because the markets are simply a reflection of us. And that's the reality of it. You want to, exactly, people want money quick, right? And I get it. Go get your bag, right? Absolutely. But if you think that that is something that is sustainable, you will be in for a rude awakening. Like a lot of people, I remember when I first had this discussion, right, on Involio. And I asked people through a post, how much money do you guys have in your portfolio in percentages compared to how much you guys are trading on meme coins and leverage trades? You guys know how many people have told me that they don't even have portfolios? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Sorry for my language, guys, by the way. I apologize, but I really need to get you guys to understand this thing. The first thing that you should be doing, right, is create a base. It's like when you're building a home, right? You don't go and put the decorations right away. You build the base before anything else. And the base is your investment portfolio. Okay? Man, bro, I don't watch his stuff. I didn't even know this stuff. But anyways, kind of funny coming from him. But that's another topic. I'm not opening that stuff. But anyways. So, focus on building your investment portfolio. Now, can you do meme coins? Can you do leverage trading at the beginning? If you wish, do so. Be my guest. But never, ever, ever risk more than you're willing to lose. And never, ever have the expectation that that is what you need to do to make real money in this game. Because the percentage of people that have made and exited is the key word here, not paper gains that never made it to the bank, right? People that have actually withdrawn money from meme coin gains. Can you guys guess the percentage of that? I think that there were some stats going around a few months ago about people that made money on pump.fun. Isn't it like less than 15%, guys? Have you guys seen that? Right? So I think that should tell you something. Focus on having your base. Diversify. Okay? Diversify, because if you want to take some risk for the short term, I'm not saying not to trade. Look, I have invested over $10,000 on meme coins. I've done it myself. Okay? I've done it publicly in the premium. Okay? There is a portfolio where you guys can see my the coins that I've held, how much I've invested per coin, and whatnot. Okay? It's all public. It's all out there. People see it. But that is just money that I'm willing to lose. Okay? That is stuff that I do not care about, because the percentage that I have in my actual portfolio is not only just is not just way more than that. But even if I lose that 10 grand, which for the most part I personally have following my own calls, okay? So do not confuse my own calls on meme coins and my own personal plays on meme coins with the one that Trustby does, because I follow my own gut. I was learning the meme coin game. That's why you don't see me calling for meme coins or anything like that. I leave that to Trustby. I trust Trustby with that stuff. But what I've done from myself, and I've completely done the wrong approach probably, has not been profitable for me, okay? But what I'm telling you is, don't put too much on this place and don't trust them for too long, because they're here today and gone tomorrow. By the time you know it, and over the next few months, I could almost say with big certainty that all of these memes will probably vanish in a blink of an eye. I've seen it before. I've seen it in the BNB era, where BSC, the Binance Smart Chain, in the last cycle was dominating the meme coin game. The shit coins, we call them. We didn't call them meme coins. We call them shit coins straight away. So understand that you are approaching the end of the cycle, okay? Your focus right now should be stacking as much money as possible for altcoins rather than anything else. For Bitcoin, you are way too late. For Ethereum, you are most likely priced out. What you got, right? You could take a risk and go into meme coins, or take the smarter risk, which is the altcoins route. Okay? Which one are you going to choose? So let me read some of your questions. If you guys have any questions and whatnot, I've been ranting for a little bit. I apologize, guys, but it's stuff that I really I felt like saying because, you know, I don't know. I think that there is a misconception of what it means to be in crypto. It really feels like the dot-com bubble. It is the dot-com bubble, to say the least. And I think that it has been preying on a lot of young people that have their brains completely fucked by these algorithms to simply provide liquidity in the market. Like, I don't know. I'm going to take a sip of water, read some of your questions, and then we can proceed. So let me read some of your questions, guys. Some of the comments in the chat as I was having that rant. Man, there's a lot to catch up on. Also, being more flexible allows you to make more money on either move. Absolutely correct, which is the approach that I teach. To always have different plans and, you know, truly act upon it. As in, if the market goes down, I know what I'm doing. If the market goes up, I know what I'm doing. You know, if you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail. Simple as. BTC now is almost double the annual salary of most country, correct? So most people will not be buying a more Bitcoin. I sold Pango, kind of regret. I honestly will not. Don't let emotions cloud your judgment, correct? If you're getting now, the next time you will not sell when you should have sold. Absolutely. Absolutely. Psychology plus mindset strategy, correct? A very good quote, Ashrain. The best thing I learned here is emotional maturity is everything. Absolutely. Thank you, Jay. Learning from Alex has definitely changed my mindset. I don't need it as a strat, but as a matter of understanding the markets. If you want to understand the markets, I will definitely be studying the previous cycles, along with market structure, liquidity. And if you want to take things to the next level, order flow is the way to do it. Order flow, order flow, order flow. Like, if I could go back in time, honestly, guys, I will start with order flow. It's literally the cheat code to enormous gains, small stop losses, high leverage. It's literally, I don't want to say I don't know. It's like the simplest way for you to decipher the market, honestly. It is hard. Don't get me wrong, it is hard, but that's the way that I will go if I were to go back in time. Order flow. You speak the truth. Thank you. That's gonna take losses. Oh, made the same analogy about building a house. I got into it last round, but I got lucky with Dogecoin. They left it, and I got into it again and found Alex. So I'd say 1.5 years consistently every day. Awesome. Yeah, John, I know that book, The Art of War. I have it. What is the difference between altcoin and meme coin? So, meme coins, technically speaking, well, what is an altcoin in the first place? Altcoin stands for alternative coin, okay? It's anything that is not Bitcoin. So technically speaking, a meme coin is also an altcoin. But when we say altcoin, right, we're referring to other tokens that are not Bitcoin that are actually bringing something onto the table. Because meme coins, like, oh my god, the names of certain coins, right, they're so fucking stupid. That tells you where dumb money's going. And in my opinion, what meme coin is, unless you truly know how to play them and you're following somebody that actually does and actually is able to make returns to you as well, what what I believe meme coins to be is literally the slaughterhouse for retail to lose their money before altcoin season, in my opinion. Because and I think that the whole concept of meme coins and all of stuff, all of that kind of stuff, right, was created by these whales to make sure that most people do not end up profiting from altcoins, and they end up chasing the top. That's the reality of it. Because were there any meme coins in 2018? Not that I'm aware of. On chain, sure, but there definitely wasn't the attention that there is now towards this asset class, so to speak. Yeah, Doge was the meme coin, but there were no on-chain meme coins the way that you find them now on Solana and all of these different chains. So, you know, I think that as more time has progressed and more people studied cycles and things like that, I think that they had to come up with an approach to make people FOMO, because what a lot of people don't have is patience. Okay, so if you don't have patience, you are pretty much set to lose in this game, and that's the reality. So, what is the best way for people to make them feel like they're missing out on gains? Well, publicize the gains as someone that you don't know what it is, made on a certain meme coin. Oh shit, did you see this guy turning $10 into 3 million by buying Shiba when nobody was aware of it? Isn't that the same mentality that a lot of you guys are using to make some buys on some meme coins, and then when you see some gains, you don't end up taking profits because you start to believe, well, what if this becomes the next Shiba or something else, right? So this is why, in my opinion, meme coins are, generally speaking, unless you have an actual, and again, let me repeat it for the 10th time, right? I'm not saying that you cannot make money off meme coins. I think that the approach on these things, beginners tend to fuck it up, and they tend to completely miss the point of these coins, okay? So, on to the next conversation. What would you say Pepe is? Well, Pepe is an established meme coin, and therefore an altcoin. But has Pepe had any crazy returns? I mean, hold on. I think that it has. Hold on, let me check. I don't want to say something that is retarded. Pepe, I think that it went on a rally during this cycle, has it? Yes, it has. Yeah, it has. But look, it started in 2024, which is when, in my opinion, right, we had the meme coin mania. Could this start to catch up once again? Honestly, I doubt that we will see new all-time highs. I remember calling this on Involio, and I have the chart for it. Give me a second. I don't remember where I placed it, perhaps. Perhaps it was this one. I remember calling the top for this. Let me check. I'm sure that I have it. Somewhere I have it. Maybe it's over here. There you go. I made this call, guys, on Involio. You can go and check when it happened. I said here to apply caution. We were trading at all-time highs before it happened. I started to call for this area. I said that this is the main resistance area. All the highlighted area can act as a resistance. This is the parallel trendline, the trendline channel method. Once again, add this projection over here. Push to the downside. We dropped. How much did we drop? Like 80% probably? 81%. I think that was a pretty accurate call. Can this go back up? Yeah, perhaps it can. But look, it's back below this trendline channel. So, in my opinion, anything higher will probably not even take out the all-time highs. I think that we could potentially just retest this area and then reject from there. And what are you going to do? Buy it now for a potential 50% gain? Kind of stupid to me, isn't it? Did you buy the bottom? Are you expecting to see crazy gains? You're most likely not going to get them, because you know what people do, right? And this is why I think that a lot of retail, right, no matter how much wisdom you try to put them in their head, some people, and it's normal because I also had to go through this phase, but most people truly need to learn it the hard way. You try your best, right, to put some wisdom in their brain, and someone else will come, propose this new shiny thing that promises, right, quick gains. Just follow me, bro, and shit like that, and they end up buying some token, right, or some meme coin that has already pumped. For example, like last week I tried to make you guys understand the concept of ROI, right? And right now I'm showing you that this coin has already pumped. And even if it goes up, you will still be missing out on tremendous gains on other altcoins that didn't pump just yet, simply because you wanted to buy the token that everyone else knows. You pumped before, so you expect this sort of rally to happen once again, and whatnot. I don't think that that's how it works, my friend. I think that you're in for a rude awakening. I think that this will most likely top around this region, and the reason being is because, look, people will only remember coins that went up a lot. And when I say a lot, just remember that in April 2023, this coin was this low, went up 16,000%. 16,000%, bro. That's not a 16x, that's a 164x gain. Tremendous amount of profits. Now, do you believe that the whales that made this coin pump this much will put the same amount of capital once again because you want to see a pump to new all-time highs? Like, do you know how many people got trapped in here and they will still remain trapped upon seeing this push to the upside here, hoping that they will finally start to see a profit now? And before they know it, this coin rose back down again and it goes back down into this region. Congratulations, you basically got trapped. And you perhaps have to wait for another cycle if there ever is one for Pepe. So if you're looking to buy altcoins, don't buy the stuff that has already pumped. I'll give you this piece of advice. But you will need to trust me on that, right? You need the trust because it's likely, right, that you may want to ignore this advice, buy some, I don't know, some freaking Pepe coin or some coin on Solana. I think that there's going to be a rotation of interest away from meme coins and back into altcoins. I think that it's already taking place. Jay, but why would these coins be memes? Like, you named two tokens which are in the gaming narrative, and FTT was an exchange token, Luna Classic was an ecosystem. Those are not memes. Membra said altcoin used to transfer money and value, meme coin buy a node and sell it to the next retail. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, Jay, like, you can ask questions. I was trying to understand the context as to why you thought that those were memes. Like, I was missing the plot there. Basically, anyone who printed had some liquidity on the other side. And you know what the thing is, right? I'll tell you this thing. So, when an altcoin, okay, so going back to the comparison between altcoin and meme coin, an altcoin as something that a meme coin, until its centralized exchanges, does not have. And you know what that is? A market maker. Most of the time, the chart that you see are painted by someone else. You may think, well, Alex, aren't this chart also paid by someone else's liquidity? Correct. But, a small market cap coin, right, can be more easily manipulated because it doesn't have as much money as a coin like Pepe, which has billions upon billions of dollars of capitalization, I believe. A coin like this, what does it have? It has a market maker that simply sets the tone as to how the price action paints, because it follows liquidity. Now, if I were to launch my own coin, for example, on Pumped Up Fun, and let's say that I want to manipulate it. Let's, for example, assume that I have 100k liquidity. I have a bunch of wallets. You don't know that it's me necessarily, and I could show you, right, that I've locked my own portfolio, the public one, of course, right? And I simply buy and overall paint the chart however I like through my other portfolios. You may start to see, oh, there's a lot of people buying, there's whales buying, let me buy. And then before you know it, a lot of other people start to think the same thing. And before you know it, the coin rises in value. Me, that I am dictating the move, right? I can sell, I can potentially even rug you completely at one point, right? However I want. And you are basically never truly safe until one of these meme coins starts to hit a centralized exchange. And I've seen situations where even when it does, it's not completely safe. I've seen one instance when this happened. It's usually the coins that just land on Mantra is a good example, but it's also tokens that usually land on MEXC. MEXC is insane. It's an exchange that honestly is so retarded. It's so retarded. They don't want to see you disable the notifications because they want to notify you whenever they whenever they list some retarded token. MEXC owes every coin for, yeah, absolutely. Like, it's madness. I don't know how much longer MEXC can survive, to be honest. I'll be completely honest. Like, I use it for futures because it doesn't ask for fees. So it makes it super profitable to trade, but I don't know, I don't trust it anymore as much. You know, I do have a link for it. I recently started a partnership with MEXC, but it's just for futures, man. I'll be honest. Like, I don't care if they cut my deal. I don't care. Other people's safety is is my top priority because there is my reputation on the line. So I'll tell you how it is. I think the MEXC is kind of retarded, and they do whatever they can to get the attention of the retail, and that's the thing. And you know, my God, what a conversation we could have on meme coins, guys. You trust Bluffin? I think the Bluffin is not that retarded when comparing to MEXC. For example, that got prints of shit coins. So they profit of listing coins. I think yes, because you get way more exposure. Now, something like MEXC, I think that at the beginning, when they listed a meme coin, it had way more of an impact because we weren't so used to new coins dropping every single day, right? On MEXC. And then I think that things started to get out of hand and they saw how profitable it was to have all these different coins listed. So what they do is basically capture the hype around the token because they want the volume. Volume means that there is transactions, and with transaction, there come the fees, right? And what they do is they basically delist the token once they see that the volume has died off because they don't want it anymore on their exchange. So, you know, as an exchange, you're making a shitload of money using unethical ways, in my opinion. This is why, for the most part, what I do on MEXC is mostly futures at this moment. So, is it clear, guys, with my market expectations? Today, it was a little bit more of a rant and just to speak about, you know, many layers, right, that are present in this game, because from a market perspective, I don't think that much has changed from my last update. So as long as you watch that, I think that you're good. What exchange do you actually prefer for spot? I use Kraken. Kraken is the exchange that I use the most. It's the one that, if I could, I would be advertising, but I am not partnered with them. I think that is just a great exchange. They don't have, like, they literally just introduced futures, and even their futures, right? Not only does it have fees, which just shows you that, look, they're here to make money in an ethical way because they're offering you a service, but their leverage options are not even that high. Like, before you start trading with futures, there is a quiz. You need to be approved. Like, there's all sort of stuff that you could consider an hurdle, but that hurdle demonstrates that they are actually in business to mean business, and that's a different thing. Like, you can get on every single other exchange, right? And yeah, some of them do have those tests that you need to pass, but other than that, there's no approval thing or nothing. So yeah, Kraken is the one exchange that is, in my opinion, the most regulated one. I think that it's more transparent than Binance, to be completely honest. And I do hold a lot of funds in there. I'll just say that because I trust them. I truly trust them. Should you add spot on Ledger though? Yes. The reason why I have capital on these exchanges is because it's quicker to transact with. Okay. Bitget is very safe. I cannot say that for certain. I have used it in the past, but I've basically only bought like one token. So I can only speak about what I truly use. They do based on here, but the more you have, the more maintenance you need, so the more money they use. So basically, the point where you lose money doing that. For example, MEXC, I made a post. Give me a second here, I'll show you guys. John knows about it because I made this announcement in premium. Where is it? There you go. My god, why is my mouse so retarded at this moment? Look, I made this announcement in my personal Discord. In recent months, the cryptocurrency exchange MEXC has come under increasing scrutiny for surging account freezes and withdrawal restrictions, often without clear or valid justification. Reports from multiple high net worth users suggest that balances in the 7 and 8 figure range have been especially targeted. It raises serious questions about the exchange's solvency and operational integrity. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but basically they're not paying out. They're not allowing these people that have these big accounts withdraw their money. So I want to see everybody safe, and I prefer to cut a lot of my business from MEXC and just move elsewhere. I now use MEXC for futures again. I'm still using that. I have Kraken. I have Kucoin. Do use Gate.io, but just for like 2 tokens. Okay. So this is how I'm using exchanges. Any other questions, guys? You guys wanted to see my trading strategy once again? I'll keep it super simple, and then if there's not any questions, I'll just cut this live stream short, okay? And then we can have an update towards the end of the week if required. Again, I think that there's going to be a correction going forward, ideally by the end of the week. I'm really looking forward to 112, potentially 108, and like I said, 106 to 104 is ideally the level that I want to see us going to. The lower we go, the bigger the old season will be, okay? So that's what you should be hoping for. Future strategy, yes, you can use a strategy on whatever you want. Even spot it works. So look, first thing first, like I said, you gotta go on those higher time frames compared to the one you're trading. So if you're scalping, right, your higher time frame should be the 15 minutes at the very least. In some occasions, you may even consider the 1 hour. And when I say scalping, it means trading on the 1 minute time frame. Okay, so treat your 15-minute chart as your daily, okay, or at least like a 4 hour. And you basically want to mark off the levels. Look at where the liquidity look at where the liquidity is at. Look at where the lows and highs have been swept. For example, here I can see that there was a liquidity swipe from below these lows, which led to an uptrend that truthfully we cannot really confirm, or at least I will have not really confirmed to be a strong one until we have seen a closure back above this high, and that is because of market structure shift. So from a Fibonacci perspective, we are still seeking a return back down to the equilibrium point, which is 117.7. But first thing first, again, identify the market structure. Now, because I've done my higher time frame analysis, right, and because I have all my other levels, and because I have different charts, okay, I know that we have hit a significant point of interest to the upside that could potentially create resistance. Okay, go on a night time frame, okay, and mark the levels off. For example, right, on the daily, how is this uptrend? How was this uptrend created? Well, for this last swing to the upside, what we can say is that the uptrend was created after the wipe of this low, okay, which allowed us to see some liquidity be recovered. What is this, guys? It's a fair value gap. Isn't that a down channel? No. No. I don't know what you mean exactly, but I mean, it's an overall uptrend. Or a cup and handle. I don't trade patterns. I only trade double tops and double bottoms and inverse head and shoulders and head and shoulders. Okay. So first thing first, again, let's go on a night time frame compared to what you're trading. Again, for scalping 15 minutes. If you're intraday, you gotta go on the daily. For anything else like investing, you wanna do things from the monthly. Okay. Mark your levels. Understand the market structure. Are we bullish? Are we bearish? For example, right? If I am considering the daily time frame to be my high time frame and I'm overall either swinging or intraday, we are clearly bullish at this moment in time until invalidated. Swing to the upside over here. There has been a market structure shift, but we haven't seen a retest back down. So what this is telling me is that yes, we're bullish, but we are still missing a correction back down. What have we hit? Now, if you ask about what these gray zones are, they are Fibonacci levels that I've marked before, okay? That's why I have them. I'm not going to go through all of them because it's very time consuming, but I'm going to give you guys a glimpse as to what I'm watching out for. Let's go on a lower time frame, 4 hour. Now, on the 4 hour, we start to see something a little bit more meaningful because on the 4 hour, because I have this Fibonacci here and I know my zones, right? I see the price try to climb above it, fail to hold it as a support, broken below it, and also swept some liquidity. What people in smart money concept will call this is a break of structure or a change of character, we could say, okay? Because we have seen the wipe of these lows. So what this could potentially create is a situation where we get a lower high and a correction back down. So we are anticipating this rally to stop at some point, okay? So this is currently my bias. So my bias at this moment is to look for short setups. Let's go on a lower time frame. What I'm looking for here now is either a range or consolidation. And what do you see? We actually have two very visible ones. One of them is this one, and I like to go from wick to wick, from this side to this low. Now, how do you set it up? In the previous live stream last week, I had multiple levels. I had the 0.5, the minus 0.5, the 1.5, and the minus 1.15. Okay. Why do I have all these other levels and today I do not have them? It's actually very, very simple. Let me actually make sure that I've set them up correctly. Yes, I can. I'll take the screenshot right now. Should be good, right? I sent it in the chat if you guys want to see the levels clearly. Okay. So Point number 3. I see member typing it down in the chat for everybody. Point number 3, guys, is identify ranges or consolidations. You want to consider the wicks. You go from high to low. Now, why do I have these levels? I will explain it. And consolidation, so I'll just type it for you. Okay. Why do I have these levels? Now, the reason why I have these two levels, the 1.5 and the minus 1.5 highlighted, while initially I started with just these two levels, is very, very simple. It's actually to make your life easier. And you should use these levels, even though the charts can become messy quite quickly when you are not able to identify the trend. Perhaps you are in a big consolidation, or perhaps you are at the beginning of your trading journey, and therefore you're not really confident in identifying the correct market structure that could be unfolding, because there is a bullish scenario here where, for example, this was just a liquidity swipe in preparation of a new all-time high. Okay, there is that possibility. Okay, so how do you handle that? You add the 1.5 and then minus 1.5 levels, which is this level over here, which I'm actually going to change the color of just to make things easier on the high, just so you identify them. Okay, and it basically gives you other levels to watch out for in case you get the market structure read wrong. Okay, now if you are confident and there is a clear trend at play, and you're looking for one specific trend only, therefore either only upside or only downside, then you remove the minus 1.5 and the 1.5 levels. You just keep the 0.5 and the minus 0.5. Yes, Membro, yes. So let's assume that I'm bearish, right? I would only keep the 0.5 and then minus 0.5. But I'm doing this if I'm truly confident about the direction. Okay. Then, moving on. Do I see any other consolidations or ranges? Yes, I do. There's one over here and here. Now, the reason why you don't see the anchoring points, right, is because I've removed the 0 and the 1 level. Okay. It's just to keep my charts neat, okay? If you need to see where you're anchoring your own levels, okay, and your own points, you can choose to activate these values over here. I'll send you guys a screenshot now. I put it in the chat for you guys, okay? I don't use them because I use the magnet tool on the side, okay? I use the weak magnet, and it just places itself on the levels that I'm seeking. Okay. So what do we see? Now we have two consolidations that are different. That are pretty much highlighting an overall range using the equilibrium points. So what I see now is the possibility of the market see a bounce from this level over here. Let me actually make it red just so it stands out. Do you guys see what I'm doing? I use the 50 and the other 50% to mark a zone. And usually what you will tend to notice is that these zones are real levels of support and resistances. So your job here is to mark as many levels as possible and identify the levels from where price is likely to see a bounce from. Okay, and you want to use these areas either as an entry or as take profit zones. Okay, the stop loss should not be necessarily dictated by these levels, but rather by the wicks. For example, let's say that I want to seek for a long at this level. Unless I've refined things so much, right? My stop loss should be below this level. Okay. I'm looking for price to hit this region over here, bounce away from it into the next level of interest. The levels of interest are given to me by the Fibonacci's. Okay. Do I see any other important level that I should be marking? Yes, I do. It's from this wick to this wick. Wait, Alex, how are you so sure about this being a zone of interest? And, you know, I've been doing this for some time. And usually when you see wicks of this nature, it means that on a lower time frame, there has been a consolidation or a range inside of it. Now, if I go on the 2 hour, you now see the range a little bit more clearly. On the 1 hour, what do you see? You see a range, okay? So this is why I will place a Fibonacci over here, okay? It's a very tight zone, okay? And I'm seeking for price to hit this zone at some point, okay? And because it has never retested it, it's likely going to create a reaction, okay? I'm not seeking, look, I can identify many levels, right? But truthfully, you are in a career where uncertainty is part of your job. So if your idea is correct, right, and the trend is in your favor, you get to profit from every single order take profit and from every other point of interest, right, that are given to you by these consolidations and ranges. But if you're wrong, most times than not, right, you at least hit the take profit one because you're playing ranges, okay? The market seeks equilibrium at the end of the day. So you're doing the same thing as the market and you're going from one point of equilibrium to another. That's the simplest trading strategy that works that I can give you. Because with this situation over here, if let's say that we go up, what we're seeking at the very least is this level over here, which is a minus 50. But the more interesting area for me is this area over here. Now, because I've charted this chart so much, I also know that this is a level of interest, okay? And this is why the more levels you identify, the stronger the zones that you will find will be, and the more levels you will know from which you can expect to see a bounce or a reaction at the end of the day, okay? So if I wanted to go short, this will be how it will look like. Let's see if I can find an example and do it live, okay? I won't promise anything, but let's see if we can do an example live. The market has to propose some volatility. Now, look, this price action over here, horrendous. This is probably one of the worst price action that you can potentially trade because of the nature of the wicks. Now, if you go on a lower time frame, a low enough time frame, it becomes a little bit clearer, but you need to refine your levels quite a lot, okay? For example, I have had this level over here before, so I don't need to set it. I see a smaller consolidation inside of this of the other one, which, by the way, look at that, is exactly where we have topped over here. Did you guys see what I've done? Make sure to not miss this step. I'll do it once again. On an higher time frame, it's very important that you follow. On an higher time frame, I've identified the range, right? On the 1 hour, we have identified this range from this low to this high, okay? Then what I've done is I went from the 1 hour to the 30-minute. And I noticed that in the present price action, it's a little bit too confusing for me. So what I'm doing is seeking for clarity. And what I'm doing here is essentially going on a lower time frame. For example, the 15 minutes. So inside of the range that we have identified on the 1 hour, there are other ranges, okay? And we want to seek the high and the low of those ranges. For example, right, this range over here, this high and this low, were a range within a bigger range, okay? And what I see is another range here, from this high to this low over here, okay? So there is a work of refinement that you need to do. There's no other way to do this, okay? And you get into a situation like this one over here, where, for example, the levels of equilibrium that are present in this region are quite significant, to say the least. There is quite a few of them. So we know that within this area, we are expecting to see a reaction. And last time that we stepped into this area, for example, what did price do? It had a very quick wick, and then it snapped to the downside. 1.27%, which we all know that with leverage, this is substantial gains, okay? What would you have done if you have taken such a trade? This is your first take profit, or this one over here, stop loss to break even. You take profits on the way down as you approach equilibrium levels or zones that you have identified using equilibriums. Is that clear, guys? Do you guys have any questions before proceeding the lower time frames? Is it clear? Let me know. I'm going to take another sip of water because I need it. It is, okay? You need to practice it. Guys, don't go with live funds right away. Stick to it with demo. You will get so good at it, it's not even funny. You will start to make, at the very least, you will start to make it at least to your very first take profit, which is huge because you are then going to be able to compound. I was able, by doing this very simple thing, to increase my account size by over 200% over 23 days, I think, or less. I don't remember. Full portfolio leverage all of my trading. Yeah, backtest. You need to train your eyes. That's the best way for you to do these things. Okay. So, for example, because I've done my work and, you know, my eyes are trained, what I can tell you is that I also see a range in this candle because of the wicks, okay? This wick over here and this wick over here. So what do? Plot another zone. Now, obviously, you don't want to do this for every single candle, but you want to do it enough to identify proper regions. Then, with these regions, what you want to do is consider them an overall zone, okay? You create a zone and you say, right, once price reaches this area, because we don't necessarily know at which exact equilibrium level price will stop at, I need to give price some room to breathe, okay? If I want to place a short, right, I will do so from here, have the stop loss above this overall region, and ideally I will put it above some of the previous size. For example, this one over here, or if I want to be more safe, this level over here. You need to have a stop loss size depending on how much time you have spent refining this stuff. Like if you went to every single possible time frame and you have done a tremendous amount of work, you know your levels very, very well. And if you know them very, very well, you know the lowest and the highest price can go to. And therefore, you can afford to have the most refined stop loss. That's how you trade with 500x leverage or 250%, 250x leverage and all these crazy leverages. You gotta know your levels, okay? What will price react from this zone of equilibrium? Lots of order placed during consolidation. Yes, that is also true. But if I deploy a volume profile, right? No, this is not what I wanted to do. Hopefully this one works. No, this is still too big. I wanted to do... Hold on, let me see if I can do it this way. If I zoom in enough in this area. No, I don't remember its tool because I don't really use this as much. I've only used it in a few occasions to make an example. Oh, no, my bad. Not this one. Let's have a look if this one does it. It's not exactly what I wanted to do. Is there another tool for this? I truly do not know because I don't use them. I don't really need them. Fixed range. Hold on, let me check. But no, this is the one that I'm using. Anyway, kind of weird. Maybe I need to go on a lower time frame. On a lower time frame, it should be working. Okay. Or maybe it's because we have new price action. Hold on, let me use a replay tool. I think that with the replay tool, we should be solving this issue. Yeah, okay, look. So, what does the volume profile also show you? And let me show you guys why it's red. Point of control, okay? The point of control for me is the same thing as the equilibrium. And even the volume profile tells you that, look, yes, exactly. Volume is at the center of consolidations, which means equilibrium, okay? The market seeks equilibrium, and it acts as a magnet. Beautiful, beautiful. You basically said what I was what I was about to say. Exactly that, okay? So this is why we are expecting to see a reaction from this zone, because last time last time price was there is where it has experienced most of its volume and transactional activity, and therefore most of the liquidity. So as liquidity seekers, which we are just looking for a return back there, because that's where price remembers interest being found, and we are in the belief that from there we should be seeing a continuation of a predetermined trend. Okay, so this is why we are expecting to see reaction from these zones. And if you were to use tools like the book map, or perhaps you have an order flow tool, you will sure start to see a lot of orders coming in at such areas. Okay, if you were to apply right order flow or book map along with this strategy, you start to become very, very OP in your trading. Okay, mark my words, it becomes so OP you will not believe it. Okay, but it requires your work. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a full-time job. You think that you can quit your job, but this is harder than any other job that you can find, in my personal opinion. And what's even more important than that is that where you find, right, a lot of equilibrium points in a specific area is also where you tend to find, if you have studied smart money concepts, is where you tend to find other levels of interest, perhaps marked by a fair value gap, a breaker, or an order block. Okay, so if you find all of that stuff in the same area, it gives you a lot of confidence that that trade can be taken. Okay, so let's up on a lower time frame. Let's see if we can do some live. Guys, please, for the love of God, don't take any of the trades that we may potentially find right now with your real money. Don't do that. It's just for educational purposes. I'm not promising you that we will find a trade. I'm not telling you that it's going to be profitable. It's just for educational purposes only. Okay? Because I've seen people take trades and not listen to me, and then it's, it's not the point. I'm just telling you what I'm doing to identify areas and trades, okay? Anyway, yeah, this is not financial advice. Okay, so overall, okay, just for context, we are in an area which you can see that it's big enough, this gray area over here, that I've marked using a higher time frame. This is from the daily. Okay, so I know that this area here can potentially create some resistance. It's also where and why we have had this sort of a reaction. So overall, I'm leaning bearish. Okay, and perhaps the setup may have been already. Perhaps it could be already gone, but we will see. If you go on too low of a time frame, unless you have a very good read of the consolidations and what it's likely going to do, it can get super confusing. Like, for example, here I see a range of consolidation. Here I see another one. Here I see a smaller one. It can get super, super confusing, okay? One right here. One right here. This is an overall range. So in such an area, honestly, and this is kind of why I prefer to do this on higher time frames, because there is a little bit more distance between one level and another. Okay, if you go on a too low of a time frame, in my opinion, it becomes too confusing for this to be profitable. Okay, so in my opinion, we'll stick on something like the 15 minutes as the lowest time frames you're willing to do this with. But completely up to you. Again, if you are scalping super low time frames and with high leverage, you could potentially still profit from it. It also depends on the trend, because right now Bitcoin is consolidating. This method becomes super, super confusing because, as you can imagine, it's a consolidation. So there is a volume being built at the middle. And this is why the equilibrium points will tend to be inside of this zone over here. Okay. So honestly speaking, when it becomes this confusing, you don't really have a trade, do you? Now you can go for, but this increases possibility of getting it wrong. Hold on, what did I remove? Okay. Remove the right level. I think that it overall increases the possibility of getting things wrong. Okay. And at the beginning, you should be focusing more on understanding the system, okay, rather than anything else. I think that we have removed everything for now. Should be good. So overall, I'm expecting more downside at this moment in time. What could potentially happen here, perhaps? I do see a consolidation. There is a zone, but you can see the price has already stepped into this zone. And to be honest, it has already retraced from here, from this level over here. I think that this proposes a scenario of choppiness. Now, what is another thing that you can do when you have such levels? Now, let's say that price action turns to be bullish, right? What you're expecting to see, and I'll just draw it over here, is this. Push to the upside, followed by a retest of this area, which should be holding as a support. You enter here, and you're still looking for more upside, okay? Those levels are your real levels of support and resistance. The same thing goes for the downside, okay? If it breaks down, you are expecting to see a return back to around these levels. You're entering inside of this region and targeting the next level of equilibrium. So if you're going to be scalping the lower time frames and you find yourself stuck in a situation like this one, where it's basically consolidating between two equilibrium zones, right? You're just waiting for a breakout. So let's see if we can get one before I can wrap up. I don't want to make this too long, okay? But if this breaks to the upside, I'm looking for this. You are now in a situation where you're acting as a professional trader that only acts upon validations. You're waiting for price to show its hand, okay? A lot of people compare trading to going to the casino. But even though the analogy can be correct, what you have in trading that you do not have in casino is that you get to see, before you choose to put some money at play, you get to see the end that the market is willing to end you, okay? And then you make the decision of entering. The problem with a lot of people when they're trading is that they're entering without any confirmations by the market. And that's why they get stuck in trades. They get to, all of a sudden, they start to pray and all of that kind of stuff, right? So right now we are waiting. You have no trade at this moment in time. Any questions, guys? Is it clearer than last time? So we're getting a closure above. Potentially. There's still 3 minutes to go, so let's see. But this is how you want to see price slicing through equilibrium points. If price is not gonna it's not gonna stay in that zone anymore, it has to break out away from it in a decisive manner, okay? As it's doing right now, potentially. Because, you know, we've been consolidating this radio for quite a bit, but we don't care about a new all-time high or anything like that. We just want to see price returning to this area potentially, okay? But I would be taking profit over here if I were to see a long opportunity. So at this moment in time, the setup, if all goes well, should be looking something along the lines of this, okay? Nothing more, nothing less. It's a 2.56 risk to reward ratio, so I think that it's pretty good. 1 minute and 45. Then I'm expecting to say retracement. If the retracement doesn't happen, then we have a short idea in place. And this is also the beauty of this method, is that you get to potentially make edge trades. I could go long over here and then short, and that is honestly the best situation that could arise, because what I've done many times, right, when I myself was undecided on the direction, is I perhaps could be in a long where I see other take profits, for example, one up in here. I enter my long, I take the first take profit, move the stop loss to break even. Meanwhile, I'm entering a short position where if I'm wrong on the short idea, it goes higher and I print on the first trade and then I go stop and I get stopped out on the short, but because I'm edging, I will still be making money, right? And if price then reverses, right, no problem, because I have my short ready. Yes, you can make money back to back. You just gotta actually do the work. I mean, I've not done any super crazy technical analysis. I've not identified fair value gaps. I've not identified anything besides market structure, Fibonacci's. Yeah, I mean, look, I could say so many things that are on my mind regarding shining and whatnot, but it's another discussion. Honestly, I don't want to open that discussion, but yeah, I will be present in the decks for sure. Because the problem right now is the fact that, you know, you need to place your own trades. If you have a community like me, you need to call them out there, and then potentially need to call them on Involio as well. So, you know, it becomes quite hectic. So let's just start with a demo just for examples, okay? Demonstration purposes only. This was an account that I was showing to VIP, I think, using a system that I taught them. But I don't think that we have edging possibilities on demo here. I don't think that we do. It's not the same thing, however, okay? Because this is going to close one of my... So guys, let's assume for now that I'm opening you know, edging positions, okay? Because if for example, I get fulfilled over here on the short and then it goes down to here, it's going to open a no, it's actually going to close my position. It's not edging, it's not the proper edging as you will do on an exchange, okay? You love edging. There's different kind of edging, I guess. Usually, also another thing that I forgot to mention, usually you want to take trades on zones that have never been retested. For example, in this occasion over here. Now, because there has already been somewhat of a retest here, now, if it would have been just these two zones here, for example, these two levels here, to have been it, chances are that this trade over here will be stopped out, okay? But because there's multiple levels, right, I think that this short idea will still be valid. Can I take a look at Sui? I think that after this example, I'm gonna be wrapping up. I've noticed that once I make live streams that are too long, most people just simply don't have the attention span to stick by it. But if you are asking me about I'm gonna go live more often. I just need to work on a schedule for now, every Wednesday at this time at 7 p.m. Central European time. On the other days, I will notify you guys. Let's have a look at Soy. You know, something like this, I will never ever buy because it has already left the station. I like to buy when it's down here. I don't buy things that are up in here. I'm not interested in Soy, to be honest with you. Coins like this that people have already made money off, I'm not the one to give them my liquidity. So short term remains the same in my opinion as the rest of the coins. I think that this will see a retrace. Let's have a look at what Bitcoin is doing. But I will not buy something like this, to be honest with you. I don't see a proper buying opportunity. I don't see the ROI. It has already moved up too much. Why do you need the retrace? Why do you need the retrace on Sui? Well, if you're desperate, I think that you either risk too much or enter. I mean, you should have your defined stop loss. 25, bro, what the hell, man? 25% of your portfolio on a 20x. Oh my god. Who taught you to do that, bro? I didn't. If it was cross, you would have potentially liquidated your entire portfolio. Why? Why do you have to arm yourself so much? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, usually the people that do this is people that feel like their capital is not enough to make enormous amounts of money. Yeah, but I don't think that Jay put 25% of his portfolio. Yeah, but that's the thing. People say my portfolio is very small. But what remains same, right? He did? Oh my god, is this guy retarded or what? But anyway, you should be looking at things from a percentage basis. You should be thinking ROI in percentages. And do I need to open a discussion about compounding profits? Because things can turn very, very quickly, even with $100, as long as you stick to the process. Like, I did this exact example on Premium, where, well, I've done the example with, I believe 10K or $1,000. I think it was 10K. You need to create a portfolio, bro. You need to create a portfolio. So, let's say that you have $100, right? And let's say that you only go for 10%. Do you believe that in spot, right, you can find 10% opportunities over the course of a few days in crypto? In my opinion, especially during an uptrend, it's easy, right? 10% is nothing. Oh my god. Yeah, this is how you get... Oh my god. Hold on. Hold on. Let me show you guys what this guy posted. Did I see that correctly? 25% entry size on a short. And there's people that actually follow this. You know how you can get people to glaze all over your account? Do this exact thing. Max leverage your portfolio, put percentages that you're not really putting on your own trades. Because if they do work, even if you make small percentages, you get this big profit and losses. And I look like an idiot because I do things correctly and I have a 60% It's actually something like 70% profit and loss on my portfolio, where 10,000 people follow my account. Like, is this the way to do it? Sell you the shiny object that isn't reflective of his real trading? Speechless. Yeah, it won't be like this on the DEX, but people made a freaking fortune on Involio by scamming people, by showing portfolios like this, right? Anyway, that's another discussion. It honestly pisses me off so much. It pisses me off so much. I'm not even back on Involio to beef. There's no point. Honestly, no point. Anyway, we're waiting. We didn't see the confirmation, so no trade at this moment. If it goes higher, we're looking for a short. Oops, my bad. I touched something I shouldn't have been touching. When is the DEX going live, guys? Do you guys know? By the way, what? Can't see the... Oh, my bad. Sorry. Sorry, I forgot. No, I was just showing the screenshot the member sent. 25% entry size on a portfolio, because if it works, it increases exponentially the profit and loss shown on the portfolio. That doesn't reflect real trading. Stuff that pisses me off, man. Pisses me off. It fools a lot of people into thinking, oh shit, I could have made 5,000% of my portfolio. Let me follow this dude and let me pay for his VIP, where I'm likely going to be liquidated. Dude, I could open such a big conversation about this stuff, but I'm not even gonna do that. There's no point, honestly. There's no point. I'm not in value to beef or anything. So, okay, we're in the trade, okay? Now, I've entered a little bit lower than where I should have realistically. This is why I placed it here. Doesn't matter for this example. Because I'm overall expecting a rejection from this area to the downside. And like I said before, right, there is it's very important, right, to enter zones that have not been retested just yet, because otherwise you get into a situations like this where the zone that was initially retested, right, is likely going to be a weak area of bounce, so to speak, right? It's an area where it's quite weak. Do you trade directly from TradingView? This is a demo account, okay? Just for for an educational purpose, okay? Let me actually increase its size right now for this trade, just to put things into perspective, because technically speaking, the entry should have been over here, okay? Let me put it over here, because why not? Cool. What did you see price doing? I just moved my entry to around where I placed this trade, okay? This short tool, okay? Right now you see price rejecting from the other Fibonacci levels that we have identified, okay? It's not done. It's not over. Let me actually make this reflect the same size that I've put on the short, okay? So far it's rejecting. No closure just yet, so we still have 2 minutes. Oh, will you look at that? Strong rejection of my equilibrium points. Still have 2 minutes. No downtrend confirmed, but this is what we want to see. And guys, if we get down to this level, let's just pretend that I have an edge, okay? I'm saying this once again because this trade will disappear, okay? It will disappear because it will consider this to be a take profit level, and because it has the same size as this short position, it's going to close it off, okay? Who's on the live? Let me see who's still here. John, J, Membro, FD is... Oh my god, your name. Everyone else just left at this moment. It's cool. Not everyone can win. I think that I'm giving free game right now. No problem, no problem. Guys, the only thing that I'm gonna ask you guys in the live is, at the end of it, if you guys can share the word around on Involio. That's the only way that we can grow. Like, I think that they... Oh my god, I don't want to say this because I don't want to open this conversation once again. But let's just say that I personally feel like I should have been way more exposed to a lot more people than what I've been placed upon, I think. I'm not trying to brag. I think that there's very good people in Involio, but I think that a lot of people don't deserve where they are. So if you guys want to support me, the best way to do it is share the word around. Like, I'm not here to open a conversation. I don't want to do that. But I've seen things like, honestly, this number is so low. I think I cannot speak for everybody because I didn't see it, but I didn't get any shout out in a proper way. Ryan did shout me out on Involio. You know, on Involio, things get posted so often that, you know, even if it does shout me out, most people will not see it. I've seen people being, you know, promoted on Involio, and they get either a mega announcement by big accounts, or they get proper advertisement on the Discord. Like, I don't know. It makes me feel some type of way, but I want to get into a situation where people speak for my behalf. Yeah, but look, I literally yesterday I messaged Ryan and I asked, what do I need to do to reinstate my gold tick? Because if you guys don't know, I was a gold tick trader. It's not like I don't have this following for no goddamn reason. I don't have 4,000 people following me. I don't have 10,000 people following my portfolio for no reason. Like, how is it possible, right? Let this sink in, that I have 10,000 people following my portfolio on Involio, and I'm not a gold tick trader, and I was never liquidated. I was never any of that. I've been told, oh, you were offline. Okay, cool, I'm back, and I'm still making profitable trades. So which one is it? But posting consistently, it takes out the whole concept of trading, because let's say that I'm a swing trader, right? Let's say that I'm a swing trader. Do I have to force some trades because I want to make it on Involio? No, I will not do that. I only post trades when I see opportunities that I'm willing to share. Simple as. And I think that this approach has been so profitable for everybody. So why am I being kept hidden? I don't know. So many questions. Yeah, I mean, at one point they were. Okay, let it be clear. At one point they were pushing me. Like, I was on the trading portfolio and all of that, but I guess I did piss some people off, and that's cool. It's part of the game. Because I'm not buddy with a lot of people. It's okay. Because I don't share their methodology and the way of doing things, but that's cool. How many trades could you post realistically? Look, I'm not here. I don't want to shield it, but I have a VIP, right? There's people that pay a monthly fee. Is it fair if the same amount of trades that I give to them, I also give on Involio? I don't think it is, right? So there's always that as a priority, and every now and then I do also give trades on Involio. Like, for example, yesterday on the VIP, I think that I shared something like 4 or 5 trades, but on Involio I posted 2, or 2 days ago, I don't remember. Like, I gave you guys some bit on Involio the Bitcoin short. That was a profitable one. I gave you the Litecoin short, another profitable one. So if I hide some trades, it's simply because of that, but everybody else does it. How many I give in the VP? As many as I find, my brother. As many as I find. like I chart a lot. I spend a lot of time in the chart, and you know I have my levels. I have a system that works. You guys are seeing it in front of you, I think. So yeah, yeah, I understand the grind process. I really, really do. And it just motivates me to do more. You know, I think that I give out a bunch of content for free, and also Trustby does it. I mean, first call that he made on Involio 10x, right? And that call alone pissed some people off. I know that for a fact. Yeah, it attracts a lot of people. The fact is that real PNL is considered boring or slow to the incompetent traders, right? Um, I've had a discussion about this with Nancy Pelosi on Involio. And from his tone, I really think that it's a him rather than a her. I can tell this guy knows his stuff and that he knows his training. And you know, we were having a discussion about moving stop losses, and he was like, Alex, I know that you are an experienced trader. Why are you moving stop losses so frequently and putting them at break even? Because doing that is a representation of you not trusting your setups and your strategy. I said, what you just said to me is very correct. The reason why I do it is because PNL matters so much on Involio that it actually distorts the whole idea of trading. Because stop losses, realistically speaking, should only be moved upon a true invalidation of your setup, right? If you place your stop loss in a region, there has to be a reason, essentially, right? So moving it prematurely, just because you've hit your, well, depends. Sometimes your first take profit should be validating another level, but that's another discussion, right? So the whole point of the conversation was me ending with the fact that, look, PNL matters so much in Involio, and people, especially the newer ones that don't really understand what trading is about, they just watch that. La Fuerza grew so big because people constantly copied and posted their PNLs. What do you mean by that? Bones was passing 5 trades a day. The thing is that if Bitcoin is bullish, most likely all the altcoins are bullish. So it's not a matter of. And I remember actually doing this representation as to why, in my opinion, Involio is flawed. Perhaps when the DEX comes out, I will change my mind. But I remember talking to VIP last year, and I told them, look, I think that it's flawed because you could open a bunch of positions, set some crazy entry size, right? And then just 20x, have small moves go for you, and then you just compound even in a situation where, realistically speaking, either you will have broken even or you will have closed position at a loss, even though it does show a slight profit on Involio because you're not considering fees. Okay, there is a big conversation that you could have with that, right? There's honestly so much to consider. Like, I remember where, and I think that now they have removed it, but back then on Involio, if you were in a winning streak, right, your portfolio will say 10 trades winning streak or 50 win trading streak or something like that, right? But you understand how flawed that was because, you know, you could just do what I just said of opening position with max leverage, have the smallest of positive return, close the position, and keep on doing that. And all of a sudden, you will get pushed. And that profit, because you will always use the maximum entry size, starts to compound quickly. If you guys were around, there was this guy called Edge Fund, right? That dude did exactly that. First of all, he wasn't taking his own trades, as in with real money, because the guy was trading demo. Okay, so he was taking trades off TradingView, and he was just taking Involio as a joke. But what happened is that he became a golden verified trader with a golden tick, right? So Edge Fund, what he did is he took that cloud, and this happened on Involio. He took that cloud and started to monetize it. Okay, he was starting to sell VIPs for like $200 a month or something like that. It was crazy, right? And people will trust him because not only does he have the check, but he also has the portfolio to back it up. Then all of a sudden, that the house of cards, right, came falling down because his position started to get stopped out and he had to close in a red, to the point that he disappeared off Involio. His portfolio got liquidated and whatnot. It was like the very first big scandal on Involio because, you know, it just put into a demonstration, right, that the system was flawed. Like, this guy was flashing something like a minus 1,900 PNL. Like, it was crazy how much downside the guy had on his position, because I think that he bought the top of a move. That move just simply never retraced to his entry, so he was never able to close it. He didn't see any profit. Like, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. People got scammed. People got scammed out of his quote-unquote mentorship. He didn't know what he was doing. I think that he was a minor, I think. But I'm not sure on that. Eamon Krager used the bubble strategy, which is basically shorting shit coins. Yeah, you could do that, but I don't know. I think that maybe I'm too traditional in my ways of doing. You know, I'm worried about trading real capital and making real money off this thing. That I'm not. I don't know. I don't care. I don't market myself as someone that does. No, I like to do things the natural way. It's just me, I guess. They this year the position to never lose. You know, I think is Kregar the blocked guy, or no? I think that is not. I think that blocked guy is another person. No, yeah, it was another person. Oh my god. No stop loss, no strategy. And Kregar is a verified trader. Oh my god. Like, I'm not here to talk smack about people, but like, yeah. The guy's great. I like blocked. He's legit. He's legit. I like the guy. But with the Kreger thing, like, how is it possible that he even said himself that he doesn't look at the chart? He basically found a glitch, right? And now it's verified. Like, what? Oh my god, like, honestly. I don't even think that these people took their trades for real. I think that they took Involio as a joke. And, you know, at the beginning, when you don't have a following, right, and you don't have a reputation, you have that leverage, right, that allows you to take Involio however the fuck you want. You can go max entry size, right? And people won't bash an eye at you because nobody knows you. Then you get some traction, and all of a sudden you get your followers. If you are able to continue that momentum, you get verified. And that's why you see so many people popping off. Sure, there has to be some influence, well, some influx of new people, inflows of new users and whatnot. But, you know, for the most part, I think that it's people that just understood the system. Okay, sorry to interrupt the discussion. No, don't worry. But I don't really understand how you set up the red lines for the ranges to find the equilibrium zones. So basically, you're just looking for ranges and consolidations, my friend. Maybe you don't understand it because I went on a lower time frame, but if you witnessed me doing this live before, what I was doing essentially is looking for consolidations and ranges, okay? Wick by wick, I usually use the wicks. You know, the easiest way for you to find an equilibrium point is find the highest and the lowest levels of a range, okay? Oh, sorry, I meant you set it up in TradingView. Yes, it's a Fibonacci retracement. It's a Fibonacci retracement, okay? Like I said, at 0.5 and then minus 0.5, you must use those levels. Then, if you wish, you can also add the minus 1.5 and then 1.5. This is useful when you don't necessarily know the trend, or if you want to find even more conferences, okay? Oh, but how come it goes to the right in? Oh, yeah, because I have it activated. Extend lines right, okay? This is why. I have extend lines right. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Just reduce 75% of SUI at break even. Are you at break even right now? Awesome. Awesome. Don't... even if you have a small portfolio, don't go stupid, honestly. And even if it goes at a profit, don't say, oh, man, if I held the trade, I would have made this amount. That's the wrong way to approach it, because even if you would have worked for one trade, chances are that one big trade of that nature with that size will most likely get you liquidated at some point. So not worth it. Trust me. I've done it all before. I've done it all. It doesn't work. Crypto, let's look at what it's doing. So Bitcoin is consolidating, but I figured out some more coins are moving up. 3,300 on Ethereum, which is good. Yeah, altcoins are having their field day, but I think that what happens next is a significant correction on Bitcoin that brings the altcoins down with it. I think that it's just a catch-up preparation of going lower, in my opinion. If I'm wrong, I'm edged. I have positions. And yeah, I'm just taking it one day at a time in this moment. Apart from WD Investor and Mimic Magic, who can I copy on Involio? So I will never tell you to copy anyone, and not even me. Reason being is because it depends on your approach. Like if you're here just for the money, and then yes, find a couple of good traders. I think that up down is good. I think that I'm just gonna speak about the OGs because up down is an OG. BlackRock Exposed, which is no longer active, is an OG. I like these two people, but I don't follow anybody on Involio. I will never copy a trade myself. I don't think I ever have. I think that you should be focusing more on your own craft, because if these people were to disappear one day, right, what are you going to do? Are you going to stop eating? So, in my opinion, you should be focusing more on your own craft, okay? Up down doesn't trade anywhere these days. Yeah, because he has a lot of capital, and the same way that I don't post every day, he doesn't post every day either. That guy printed over 500k profit on one trade, 300%, right? How much more do you need? When you have that sort of capital, when you actually have meaningful capital, it's not the amount of plays that matter. You need to go for the quality ones, put size behind them, and then you're good. Like there's people, like real profitable people that make a lot of money. They only go for one trade a year. One trade a year. They don't require to be right every day. They just need to be right one time per year. And that's the luxury of it. If you don't have a lot of money, chances are that you're a miner or you don't have a job. If you have a job, you should be working as much as possible to save up for your portfolio. So guys, we are approaching the first take profit, which would technically also open an edge, okay? Yeah, minor and no job, right? And I get it. A lot of people in Involio are in that situation, and that's why it's easy for people that market meme coins, right? And I don't want to drop names, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? It's easy for people that just do meme coins to have a big following and have all this stuff, right? Because it markets to a lot of people. Because a lot of people don't have the money, and meme coins is an easy way to access the market, correct? So if you do that, you get into a situation where a lot of people follow you, and if you happen to print for them, it's likely that they're going to join your VIP, and then you make money. This is cheat code in volley at this moment in time. Oh, hello, Davis. I'm actually soon going to be wrapping up. We have been live streaming for over 2 years. This live will be on YouTube. It's been quite a valuable live, if I do say so myself, but I'm pretty sure that other people will say the same thing. So there's quite a lot of stuff that were talked about. I'm not saying that anyone is a terrible trader, by the way, okay? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that is the easiest way for you to actually, you know, monetize in volley at this moment in time. So I'm gonna pull back, nothing too crazy. Going lower. But have you guys understood the strategy? Let me know. Okay. Guys, I want you to do one thing. If you're going to use this strategy and you are implementing it, do one thing. Go on Alex Trades chat and I want to see your charts. I want to see your ideas. Show me your paper trades so I can show you if you have done things correctly or if they're wrong. We can then measure your performance and whatnot, okay? There's a lot of things that we can do together, but you need to post them, okay? I want to see you guys take your own trades. That's what I'm here to do. I want you to see you guys eat by yourself. Don't depend on anybody. Cool. All right. If I have any question, make sure to tag you. Yes. What do you think about order flow? I think that order flow is the ultimate cheat code for a trader. I spoke about order flow and the importance of it in this live stream. So, huge. I'm going to learn it because I don't like I have tools and stuff, but I'm not super on it just yet. No, I've not showed anybody how to use it because I'm learning it myself. I have taught Bookmap, but that's different. That is just for liquidity and orders and stuff, which is not necessarily the same thing because you're not able to truly decipher the candles like you would on an order flow. Yes, give a man a fish and you will feed for a day. Teach a man to fish and you will feed him for a lifetime. Absolutely. Guys, would you look at that? The system has printed you a profitable trade right in front of you. So the short, which was the trade that we printed from and the first one that got triggered, technically speaking, now I have taken the first take profit, first TP, and edge long is now in place, okay? Look at that. We had a rejection of the levels that I told you that we get a rejection from. So technically speaking, if Bitcoin is bullish, now I want to see a push to the upside that puts me into a situation where I take a profit on the long and then get stopped out on the short because I put a stop loss at break even, okay? And then if the momentum is real bullish, the long should be continuing up, okay? If it's not, then cool. You are in a situation where regardless of how it plays out, right, you still were able to make money both to the downside and to the upside, okay? Is it clear? I think that I've done it live and we shouldn't be having too many issues, I guess. You just need to practice it, guys. I'm giving you guys a cheat code, honestly. It's a scalping strat, but it also works on the higher time frame. My strategies are always applicable either to every single market or any time frame, if not both. Also, on the 1 hour, 4 hour, I set up swing trades this way. So let's see if the short idea gets stopped. Because if it does, it doesn't matter because we have the short. I just want to see the reaction of this level and see what happens, and then I'll let you guys go, okay? It's over 2 hours of a live stream. Make sure to rewatch it if you require it, because I think that there is a bunch of stuff to perhaps watch over and over again. Absolutely, Davis. I want to see you guys actually doing the work. You're not doing it for me, you're doing it for yourself. So if you love yourself and if you care about yourself, this is the stuff that you should be doing. Because even if you don't have a lot of money, then you can potentially consider a prop firm account, and then if you're able to replicate the strategy, you know, you can start to build serious capital, right, using prop firms. Can you see order flow for free anywhere? Yes, if you're trading crypto, you have to use ATAS platform, it's called, okay? It's free for cryptocurrencies. I think that there is only a few exchanges that are available though. I'm not sure. Yeah, you need Windows. And ideally, you probably need a few monitors because it takes quite a lot of space. Yeah, Binance, I saw Bybit as well. Cannot speak about the other exchanges though. I have to monitor. Yeah, I would say I have to. Honestly, I want to get a 55-inch TV as well. To be honest, because I want to have order flow being displayed and the book map. And when I travel, I tend to have a laptop with 2 monitors on the side, so I have a triple monitor setup on the go. More screens, more money. Do you use Ledger Live, right? Jay, did you... Okay, you ordered the Ledger, right? Yes, I use Ledger Live. More screens, more money. At some point, yes. At the beginning, probably not. It's more about the idea of being a trader at the beginning, which is cool as well. I think that we all went through it. I need to buy a ledger as well. What you recommend, Alex? John, you are in the VIP. I have a link which should give you some free Bitcoin, I think, in my opinion, if I'm not mistaken. You just go on useful links on the Discord, and yeah, you can buy using the link. Yeah, there was a promo on the Ledger website. I don't know if it's still active. I honestly do not. But remember that with my link, you will get like $30 for free at the beginning. You didn't think you got it? Cool. I don't remember, guys. I remember that there was this promotion at one point because my friend got it, and I made him buy the Ledger during the bear market. So he had this Bitcoin, right, that sat there, and it eventually turned into like 200 300 euros. It was crazy because he didn't, didn't buy it. I don't know who I think that you're Patrick Neal before, but it's not someone that has imprinted something in my brain so much that I will remind myself of him. Like, I've heard his name. Oh yeah, okay. That's where I got it from. Number 1 trader on Robbit's Cup. I think that the Robbit's Cup is basically you being, yes, a super good trader that knows how to max leverage properly, and like it's insane the performance of these people. I know that the number 1 scalper in the world is an Italian trader which uses order flow. He's a scalper. I've watched a few of his videos, not courses or anything like that. But that's also what's making me want to use order flow as well. Yeah, ICT has had the best performance at being at the bottom. I think that I would have performed better than ICT. I think that I would have. Yes, Fabio Valentini. Trader Vale on YouTube. Should I restore or create a new phrase? Jay, I will create a new phrase. A new phrase. What is your best advice for someone starting a portfolio with $1,000? So first of all, find a good community, good mentor that has been here before and is still here. Second of all, focus on altseason right now. I will not focus on meme coins or leverage trades with more than, honestly, $50 maybe, not more than that. The rest goes into altcoins at good buying levels. Good buying levels is the key word here. That doesn't mean go and buy any altcoin because there is an old season coming. I explained last week the concept of ROI, okay? ROI is going to be crucial in this next phase of the market because I believe that we are entering the banana zone, the crazy zone where, crazy gains can be made. But you will only see crazy gains in your portfolio if you are crazy enough to buy where most people are not willing to press the buy button. And that is me saying that I'm expecting to see a correction. Worst fucking email to get. I think that is a liquidation. Yeah. Liquidation. Or a sell hit. I don't know. It's in Spanish, I think. Are you Spanish, member? There's a few people joining us now. Guys, welcome. This is being recorded. It's going to be available on my YouTube channel. We have been going for over 2 hours. So it's been quite educational. Ask people in the chat. We went over my trading system, made a live trade in front of you guys, gave you guys my market outlook, answered some of your questions. So if you're just joining now, welcome. But understand that I'm about to close off the live stream. What do you think about adding to position when on profit? Only if like, let's say that you were to trade my strategy, right? For example, here, after I see price breaking below this area displayed by these two equilibrium points, right? Then technically speaking here, after seeing the push to the downside, right, which is what I've displayed over here, right? Technically speaking, this was a re-entry for another short. Okay, so it's called laddering, what you're wanting to do, and it works. It basically makes your winners become a freaking printing machine. However, it has to be done by experienced traders. Okay, it works. Okay, trust me, it works, but you need to know what you're doing. If you're doing it at the beginning of your trading career, chances are that you will blow up. You will start to feel more emotions than ever, because trading itself brings out a lot of emotions, right? Scaling, right, can become even more emotional than you will anticipate it to be. Membra, what is that? Okay, the chart. I think they need to choose a layout. There's a few of them. Yes, because traders are afraid of pain. That is very, very true. I will post something about it later. Guys, what do you notice, by the way? That these two trades, these two zones, are both holding up very nicely. That should tell you the strength of the strategy, in my opinion, right? Because while, yes, the long right now, technically speaking, it's again, for the people joining us right now, I showed in front of the other people my trading strategy and how it works. We started with with a short. TP1 is where we have hit it over here. We have entered here on edge long. Stop loss is over here. You're not supposed to mimic these trades. This is just for educational purposes only. And right now we're in a situation where if this gets stopped out, then the short continues to print. And if the short gets stopped out, it means that the long has hit the first take profit, which is going to be at the entry level. And if that happens, chances are that, you either made money both to the downside and to the upside, and that is okay, and that's it, or price breaks out and the long is the trade that you keep on holding until the next level of resistance. Okay, so currently Both trades are printing. What even is this? Welcome to the world of order flow. I'll show you guys in the live stream what he's talking about. Spend some time in it. Ask for help on Reddit if you wish. Watch videos on YouTube. Yeah, you have to lock in. Absolutely. This can become your cheat code, but there's templates that you need to set up. There's better templates than probably the one that you chose. There is a free course. Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff. Okay. If you lock in with the stuff, guys. If you lock in with the stuff, guys, I promise you, you're going to become a profitable trader straight away. Especially if you're at the beginning of your journey, man. Again, like I said before, if I were to start all over again, I would start with order flow. Alex, you're so good, bro. People don't even know you. They go to Ryan and orders and say Ryan is not good. Because people have been pushed in front of me and, you know, I just have to laugh at it, honestly. I'm not trying to brag, but I know my worth. Thank you, man, bro. Thank you. Do you think I can still grow my portfolio the same if I have a day job? Do you mean making as much money as you will make from a job, or having both going at the same time? Thank you, Davis. Appreciate it. I got some beef with that guy. Yeah, absolutely. It's what I told to John, to use the job to increase the portfolio size. And I think that is pretty much set for all season at this point, because he has been with me for over a year. He started with me on March of 2024, I believe. And since then, I put him on this game of, you know, accumulating, decrease risk as much as possible, to the point where even your paycheck doesn't really affect as much the growth of your portfolio. From there onwards, you can potentially slow down if you wish, but by then you should have seen a substantial increase of your of your portfolio. Did you ever get funded? Yes, I have, but I trade with my own money. I have funded accounts. For crypto, I use Breakout. It's the best prop firm for crypto. Most I've gone, I think it's 100K. With prop firms, honestly, I'm big on trying to make them as much as possible, so I do take a tremendous amount of risk at times. When I've done, when I've taken trades publicly on my personal Discord with the community, I taught them to do things slow. But for me personally, I'm just there to try to make as much as possible, as much money as possible with capital that is not necessarily mine. Use your job and the money you get to create a system, then use the system to grow your savings and your investing capital together. Absolutely. What do you think about 500x? Last night I had a trade, Bitcoin short with 184x leverage. It was this move over here. I remember it. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, this one over here. I remember entering, I think it was over here. This is the OKX chart, so I think that it was a 118. I don't remember the values that I sent. Hold on, let me actually check. Give me a second, guys. I sent this on the VIP. Entry 117,980. Bye, John. Thank you so much for coming through. Appreciate it. So the entry was this one over here, 184x leverage, guys. That's what it was. Entry price was here, which probably wasn't the best. Not this, but this. Okay. Stop loss was actually over here, 0.40 percent. So it's actually something like that. Don't remember where the stop loss was. I think it was over here. But yeah, first take profit was this line here. That's all you needed. $184 x leverage with this gain. If I remember correctly, 0.72%. No, wait, was it this one? I don't remember. No, I don't think it was this one. But anyway, point is that you can use a lot of leverage, okay? You can, but you need to refine your entries so good. If you are going to study order flow, guys, trust me, you will be able to use a crazy amount of leverage and have smaller stop losses. I think that blocked does that. And once I noticed, I was like, yeah, okay, this guy's legit, because I know how it could flip your accounts exponentially order flow. Are there... Hold on. Why the number, not any other leverage? Why not any other leverage? That is a very good question. Because I teach something, which I'll give you guys in due time. Okay. But in the meantime, look at what is happening here. So the edge long will have been stopped out. Your short will still be printing. Okay. So this idea gets scratched. And your short is still making you money. Okay. Technically speaking, this area over here can be used as a take profit level. So let's assume that here I'm taking profits. Okay. Because there is a bunch of equilibrium points. Yes, guys, I'll touch upon that in a second. Second TP is over here. Then what you can do, right, to lock in not just the profit here, but also any potential, well, the loss that you have had from the edge long, technically speaking, which you still consider a loss, right? You can potentially be aggressive and move the stop loss over here to this side here, okay? In this way, right, you're still locking in some gains for sure. Or besides the order that you have already banked, right? So look at what is happening here. I told you that I was looking for bearish setups based on this, on everything that I exposed during this live stream. So now I'm in a situation where I no longer care about what the price does. The next target happens to be a 118, 102, which you can see that from my entry is a substantial move to the downside. And I'm just gonna keep on taking some TPs along the way. I usually go from 20 to 30% of TPs depending on the situation on the leverage. Anything else gets trimmed to the downside in such a situation. Now, guys, I have to go. I have to leave. I'm gonna answer some of your last questions, and then I got to go. So, Membra, I will tell you, because for now I'm keeping it just for premium. Honestly, your question on why no other leverage. No, Davis, there is a specific reason as to why I've used that amount of leverage. Are the 1.5 levels or the 0.5 levels the support and resistance levels? Absolutely, yes, they are. They are real dynamic levels of support and resistance. Well, not dynamic, but depends on... Well, it is also kind of dynamic because new ranges get created every single time, right? So, yes, they are. They come from ranges, Davis, but they are meant to give you levels of support and resistance. The idea is to find zones where you find a lot of a lot of those equilibrium levels, okay? So then you can set a rectangle and say, okay, right, this is my level of support or resistance. Yeah, it seems like it will grab the liquidity under the previous week and reverse. Bro locked in for real. Love to see it. You don't understand short time, bro. Bro, it might get your demands on. It kind of more task downwards than upwards. Absolutely yes, because of liquidity. So guys, I think that you enjoyed this session. I enjoyed it as well. It's always a pleasure. I want to see you guys taking these setups by yourself. I want to see your charts being posted actively on the Discord. If you're serious about locking in and you really want to make the best out of the remainder of this bull market, that's what you got to do. If you want to take things to the next level, again, check out the VIP. Where to find my VIP? You either DM me or you go on the YouTube channel, find any of my videos, and there's a link down there. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.